Good morning, world. It is Aaron here, aka AJ, aka Papa, and I'm here with another vlog. It is November 5th, 2019. I am sitting here outside of Zachary's appointment today, just kind of waiting for him to do his thing, and then we are going to go pay rent, and then we are going to just relax for today. Oh, that's a lie. Actually, we're gonna go vote, and then we're gonna relax for today. I am planning on doing some cooking today, so I'm gonna show you guys all of that, and other than that, I think it's gonna just be a pretty chill day, so I'm gonna plan on doing plenty of vlogging today. See you soon. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about music. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a singer-songwriter. I play the piano and the guitar, and lately I've been really feeling the itch to get back to some recording. So get back in the studio. I really want to produce another album. It's been a long time since I've done that last. So just recently I've reached out to someone in local Bowling Green who does some recording. So I am trying to get something worked out with them to, obviously I'm gonna pay them for their services and all of that stuff. But we're trying to work out some timing and some ideas on how this all is gonna work out and transpire schedule-wise and all of that stuff. But it looks like we're going to work on getting me back in the studio and produce some stuff, which, because everything that I've been doing on this channel so far has been vlogs, and there has been music, and so the music portion of it's been great, but a lot of it recently has just been me sitting at the piano and playing, and that's fine, and it gives you a good idea of what we're working with as far as like my ability to perform live, but it doesn't give us much of an idea of the music as a professional piece of work. And so I'm really wanting to produce the music so that it is studio quality, and then also start working on, hopefully I can find someone who has the ability to create music videos, because I'm thinking of, and obviously everything's going to start, real simple and whatnot, but I'm working towards these videos that involve my music being like actual productions or pieces of art and whatnot. So that's kind of the update on what I'm looking at as far as music goes. And eventually I'm going to, when I get more of a concise idea of the full direction of this channel, I will post a little bit about that. I've been thinking a lot about it. I really want to just kind of have an overall creativity wellness channel. So there's all these wellness channels out there, but it's a different type of wellness and a different direction for creative health. And so I really wanted to kind of put together a channel for creative individuals to focus on their health and creativity. And there's a lot that goes into that. Because for a lot of people, art is therapy, and so it is very much like therapy to stay creatively healthy. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but I have done a lot of research on it. So I'm just very excited to kind of look into all that stuff. But I'll give you guys more of an update as we develop these things. I mean, look, I'm still working on just the name of the channel or the overall concept of the channel, and so things will evolve as they come across, and I'm just really excited for the journey, and I'm not going to take anything down, even if it didn't fall completely in line with what the channel ends up being. I'm not going to take it all down, because what I think is interesting is that we see all these really successful channels out there, and albeit I haven't really looked into it, but I would wager a guess that they probably take down all of their earlier videos once they have gotten like a really concise idea of the direction of their channel. They either start a new channel and start fresh, or they take down the stuff that didn't fit. And that's cool, and it makes sense branding wise, but it doesn't help anyone at all who's trying to start off, and I just really want to not be that person. I want people to look back and see the very beginning and how it started, and how it came to be. So those are some thoughts. That's what's going on music-wise and channel-wise. And like I said, I'll give you guys more of an idea of the actual direction of the channel here in the next couple of days, because I'm going to sit down and journal it all out. Hey guys, how's it going? It is in the afternoon, and I have just now kind of gotten home and decided to do a little cooking. You probably hear Zachary's phone in the background. He's watching something, I don't know what, but so I've decided to make some fresh bread of some sorts. I haven't decided if I'm gonna make it a flatbread or if I'm gonna make it like a focaccia bread, but I'm gonna make some sort of bread. So I will show you a little bit of that. All right, so I have some water here that I've taken and some yeast in. I'll show you the kind of yeast that I use, but I took probably about 3 cups of water, 2 tablespoons of yeast, about a tablespoon of sugar, 3 tablespoons of, 3 tablespoons of spices altogether, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 of garlic powder, and 1 of minced garlic, and put that all into the water and just kind of let the yeast activate. You'll kind of tell it's activated because you can kind of see it foamy on top like that. That's how you know it's kind of good to go. I'll show you the type of yeast that I use. This is the stuff, just Fleischmann's. This is Bread Machine instant yeast, but I just use whatever yeast is, you know, not expensive at the time, because you can spend a little bit of money on it. But anyway, so that's what that looks like. All right, now I just have some Kroger brand milled whole wheat flour. Oh, another note on this is sometimes I put oil in this mixture here. I didn't this time because I want to try to do it without any added oil. All right, so now I've just added about 3.5–4 cups of flour here. I don't have a precise measurement on this because you're really going for like consistency of bread dough. So I will show that to you in just a minute and kind of give you an update on how much flour it ended up being altogether. Also, don't be afraid to just kind of get your hands in there. You can start stirring with a spoon, but eventually you're going to end up with your hands in it anyway, kneading the dough and doing all of that stuff, so might as well just get right in there. You'll see quite a bit of it will stick to your hands, but just as you're kind of going through, you can start to pick some of that off, or it will naturally just reincorporate into the bread dough as you start to get a firmer dough. So at this point, it looks like I'm going to end up adding more flour to it, so I'll be back in just one moment. So I've added another ½ cup of flour to it. I think that's going to be enough, but I'm just going to continue to mix this. What will end up happening is it'll end up coming together as a uniform bread dough. It's one full bread dough. And once that's done, we'll pull it out of the bowl and start kneading. Right, as you can see, we're starting to get somewhere here. I did end up taking a spoon and scraping off my hands a little bit because this is a pretty sticky bread dough. Without the oil in it, I'm just pretty much sticking to it, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world because we will eventually just roll this out and let it rise on parchment paper, and that will help keep it from sticking to whatever pan we end up putting it on. But as you can see, sticking quite a bit here. This is a little damp yet, so I'm going to add another ½ cup flour to it to just assist in kneading it up. We do not want it to be like a brick, but we also don't want it to be so sticky that you can't work with it, and a little more bread flour will help with that. So we're at a pretty good consistency at this point. This is kind of what it should look like. When you press on it, it should kind of just stay where it's at for now. Eventually, we'll get a little bounce back from the bread dough. But at this stage, it should pretty much hold whatever impression you leave into it. I'm going to keep kneading for about 5 minutes, and then at that 5-minute mark, I'm going to go ahead and let it rest for about 15. Some people will turn the bread dough out at this point and start kneading on the countertop. Most of what I do is going to be in the bowl, just because I don't like to clean the countertop. So at some point I may turn it out on the countertop, but it's really not necessary. You'll get some sticking on the bowl and whatnot, but it's a whole lot easier for me to clean a bowl than it is to clean the countertop. So that's what I got going on for right now. I will show you what it looks like when I am ready to let it rest. All right, so this is what it looks like when it's all kind of come together. Now at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and let it rest for about 15-20 minutes. This will just allow the bread time for the gluten in it to kind of develop. Different bread doughs are going to give you different consistency doughs, or different bread flours are going to give you different consistency doughs. So don't freak out if you see that it's a little bit different than what you're seeing here. Totally natural. Again, I'm going to knead this again in about 20 minutes, but keep in mind, the longer you knead it, the more delicate the dough is going to be eventually. And then also the number of times that you let it rise will also help you gauge kind of the delicate nature of the bread. Sometimes you can let it rise just one time and then just put it right in the oven. In this particular instance, I think I'm going to let it rise 2 or 3 times, just depending. So what I'll do is I'll just take some damp paper towels. I'm going to put it over the top of this bread dough so that it doesn't dry out, and let it rest for the next 20 minutes. So that's what it looks like all covered up. Don't be surprised, over the next 20 minutes it will rise a little bit, but not too much. The whole point is just to let the gluten develop a little bit, and we're going to get back in there and knead it until it's a nice, uniform, smooth dough. Another thing that I have done is, you will see here, I've turned on the stove to about 255 degrees. That is not to like preheat the oven, but it's to put some heat into the atmosphere. I'm going to keep the dough relatively close to the vent. The vent's right up under here. So that's gonna kick out heat in the direction of the bread dough, and that will just help the bread dough proof a little bit as it's just kind of hanging out and waiting for a rise. So that's it for now. I will go on ahead and let it rest, knead it to a smooth, uniform consistency before I hop back on here, but I'll show you what that smooth consistency looks like and we'll move forward from there. That's what it looks like after it's been kneaded for quite a while. When I came back out to knead it, it had risen significantly, so I punched it down and kneaded it until it's got a pretty nice smooth consistency. You'll see it bounces back pretty good. So anyway, we're gonna go on ahead and let this rise. I'm gonna put the redampen the paper towels I was using before, redampen those and put those over the top. And actually you'll see too, I wanted to show you this as well, the bottom of the bowl, nothing sticking to it. So turns out you don't even need the oil to achieve a dough that doesn't stick. It's pretty cool, right? So yeah, that has forever changed my bread making process. I will probably never add oil to my bread again, but that's it for now. So while I'm waiting for the bread to rise, and while Zachary's taking a nap, I'm just kind of casually working on this scarf. This is the wavy shell stitch. I will post a link to it at the bottom in the description box. Also have a chocolate cake in the oven as well, and that's pretty exciting. And I actually used a YouTube video for that as well, which is why I didn't really post any video of me, or didn't take any video of me making the cake itself. I will put the link to that video in the description as well. So it's a pretty quiet night. I'm really enjoying this day off. I will be delivering for the next 2 days, so I'm just gonna chill and work on the scarf and wait for cake. All right, chocolate cake is out of the oven, looking good. That's a no oil, fat-free cake right there. And this is the bread dough risen for the second time. So I'm gonna take it out of the bowl here. I'm going to punch it down, knead it a little bit, and I'm gonna put it on some parchment paper on the tray it's gonna bake on, and cover it up and let it rise one more time. Be back in a moment. All right, so I have rolled it out. I decided to make a focaccia bread. So you can see here it is on I guess it'd be like a 16-inch pizza tray. And I've rolled it out almost the edges. So at this point, it's about an inch thick, but I'm gonna cover it up again with damp paper towels. And I'm gonna just let it hang out for about another hour to rise, and then we're gonna pop it in the oven at 350 degrees. And now I've just turned the chocolate cake upside down. I'm gonna leave it in the parchment paper so that it can cool nicely. Don't wanna try to fiddle with it too much while it's still hot, or all of it will stick to the parchment paper and it'll end up a crumbly mess. So we're gonna leave it like this for now, and I will come back a little bit later. Hey guys, this is what the cake turned out like. It's really kind of more like brownies. A couple of things with what I did with the recipe is, instead of the oil that it called for, I ended up using a banana instead. But other than that, everything was the same, except for this guy used regular white flour, and I used whole wheat milk flour. So mine came out more like a really dense fudge, like a cake, like a fudge brownie sort of, kind of like that. And if I had to do it over again, I would increase the amount of cocoa powder and sugar. Although it looks super chocolatey, it really just doesn't taste super chocolatey. So those would be my changes.